Here we have a work performance ratio. Okay, let's go to the information. Find in what ratio will the total wages of the workers of a factory be increased or decreased if there be a reduction in the number of workers in the ratio 15 to 11 and an increment in their wages in the ratio 22 to 25. So according to the question, we have to find, so in what ratio the total wages of a factory be increased or decreased after the two changes. So that is, there are two changes given over here. The one is the number of workers will be decreased in the ratio 15 to 11 and the wages is increased in the ratio 22 to 25. After these two changes, so whether the total wages is going to be increased or decreased, and that one also we have to find in the ratio. But we don't have any information about the number of workers and the wages paid per worker. Since we don't have any information about that, we can assume X as a number of workers in the factory. Let me write the stuff over here. Number of workers. And I assume Y as wages paid per worker. Let me write the stuff over here. Okay, I know the number of workers and the wages paid per worker as variables X and Y. So now let's find the total wages of all the workers in the factory. So to get the total wages, what I have to do is I have to multiply the number of workers and wages paid per worker, then X times Y. So this XY represents the total wages of all the workers in the factory. Actually, this XY represents the total wages before the two changes I mentioned in the question. Okay, now we have to find the number of workers after the change, the first change, that is the number of workers is decreased in the ratio of 15 to 11. And also we have to find the wages paid per worker after the second change, that is the increment in their wages in the ratio 22 to 25. For that, let me consider a concept. First, let me write the stuff, required stuff. Here I have written the stuff. There is a quantity which is called original quantity. So this original quantity is changed in the ratio A to B. Then we get the new quantity. So whenever we change a quantity, that's called original quantity, change it to new quantity. So there is a formula to get the new quantity. Let me write the stuff over here. So to get the new quantity, the formula is we have to consider the second term of the ratio, that is B, and it has to be multiplied by the original quantity. Let me write the stuff over here. Original quantity, and this result has to be divided by the first term of the ratio. So this is a formula we have to get the new quantity whenever the original quantity is changed to new quantity in a particular ratio, called, say A to B. So even from this ratio, we can say that the original quantity is increased or decreased. For example, let me say this ratio is 2 to 3. Now look at this ratio from left side to right side. When I look at this ratio from left side to right side, it's getting increased from 2 to 3. Since the terms of the ratio is getting increased from left side to right side, so the original quantity is increased in the ratio 2 to 3 to get the new quantity. In case, let's consider the ratio 3 to 2. When I consider this ratio from left side to right side, it's getting decreased from 3 to 2. So in this case, the original quantity is decreased in the ratio 3 to 2 to get the new quantity. Okay, now we can use stuff over here to get the number of workers of the factory after it is decreased in the ratio 15 to 11. Okay, now let me write the stuff over here after changes. So after the two changes, now let me find the number of workers first. So to get the number of workers, so what I have to do is after changes means I am going to find the new quantity. So already we know that originally we have X number of workers. After the workers are reduced in the ratio 15 to 11, what is the number of workers? For that, we have to multiply the second term of the ratio 11 by the original quantity according to the formula we have over here. Original quantity is nothing but X for number of workers. It has to be divided by this first term of the ratio, which is 15. In the same way, we can find the wages paid per workers. Let me write the stuff over here. Wages per worker is going to be, so we have to multiply the second term of the ratio 25 by the original quantity, that is Y, divided by the first term of the ratio, which is 22. Okay, after the two changes mentioned in the question, I got the number of workers and wages per worker over here. Now, after these two changes, let's find the total wages. Let me write over here. To get the total wages, the same thing, we have to multiply the number of workers and wages per worker, that is 11x over, 15 times 25 over 22. I just multiply them. So here 11 goes into 11 one times, 11 goes into 22 two times. And here both 25 and 15 have the greatest common divisor 5. That is 5 goes into 15 3 times, 5 goes into 25 5 times. So now when I multiply this 1x times 5 times y, I am getting 5xy divided by 3 times 2 is 6. Okay, so before the two changes mentioned in the question, the total wages of the factory is X times Y. After the apply the two changes given in the question, the total wages of the factories are 5XY over 6. Okay, now we have to find the total wages has been increased or decreased. That one also we have to find in the ratio. Okay, so like can I consider the coefficient of XY over here? Do you have any number in front of XY? No, we don't have any number. So we have to assume there is 1. So before changes, the total wages of the factory is 1XY. Now we can divide this 5 by 6 using calculator. Okay, let me divide 5 by 6. Okay, when I divide 5 by 6, I'm getting 0.833. It keeps going. So approximately it's 0.83xy. So before changes, the total wages of the factory is 1xy. After changes, the total wages of the factory is 0.83xy. Clearly, after these two changes given in the question, the total wages has been decreased from 1xy to 0.83xy. Okay, now we got it. That is the total wages of the workers of a factory is decreased. But we have to find this result in ratio. So for that, we have to do the ratio between the total wages of the factory before changes. That is X times Y. And the total wages of the workers of a factory after changes. Don't consider this decimal. Better we can consider this stuff. That is 5 over 6 times XY. Okay, so this is a ratio between the total wages before changes and total wages after changes. Okay, now what we can do is when I consider first term and second term of the ratio, so both the terms contain xy. Okay, now to simplify this ratio, what we can do is we can divide both the terms by xy. In a ratio, if I want, I can divide or multiply both the terms by the same non-zero number. This time I'm going to divide both the terms of this ratio by xy. Let me divide the first term by xy, and also let me divide the second term also by xy. So when I do so, this xy will cancel, xy will cancel out. Then I'm getting, so here we get just 1, and here we get 5 over 6 divided by 1. So 5 over 6 divided by 1 is just 5 over 6. Now, so always we should be trying to get the ratio in terms of integers. Here the first term of the ratio is integer, but the second term of the ratio is not integer. So for that we have to get the denominator 6 over here. So for that I have to multiply both the terms of the ratio by 6. Let me write let me multiply the first term of the ratio by 6, and let me multiply the second term of the ratio by 6, and 6 will cancel out. Then 6 times 1 is 6, and so here we just have 5. So the total wages before changes and the total wages after changes are in the ratio 6 to 5. Now look at this ratio from left side to right side. So it's getting increased or decreased? Clearly, so it's getting decreased from 6 to 5. So that is after the two changes given in the question, the total wages of the workers of the factory is decreased in the ratio 6 to 5.